Hi, I'm Stuart.
And I'm Cait.
And welcome to Extracurricular Activities. And boy, have we got a full show for you. Hey Cait, did you know today is World Press Freedom Day?
Yes, I did.
And you know, it's important to remember that there's lots of people out there around the world who don't have freedom of the press. So yeah, just keep that in mind.
Yes, we are very lucky. And on that note, we are going to go straight to News of the Week.
Thanks guys. The Commonwealth Bank has admitted to losing the financial statements of around 20 million customers. Information such as customers' names, their account numbers and transaction records were lost by a subcontractor during the decommissioning of a data storage centre. Although the bank did run an independent inquiry and reported the incident to the Office of the Australian Information Commissioner, the Commonwealth Bank has been criticised for only owning up to the loss of information after BuzzFeed News broke the story. Cambridge Analytica, the data mining company central to Facebook's privacy scandal, has announced its plans to shut down and begin bankruptcy proceedings. The company has lashed out at the media, claiming that it has been vilified and targeted for actions that are not only legal, but are a widely accepted part of online advertising. Following the Facebook privacy scandal, customers and suppliers fled the company, forcing it into administration. An Australian space agency has finally become a reality, with seed funds of $50 million to be announced next week. Most developed nations, including New Zealand, already have space programs capitalising on an industry worth around $420 billion a year. While the government is yet to decide where the new space station will be located, the Northern Territory, South Australia, Western Australia and the ACT have all expressed interest as host states. Things can only go up from here. And in what is probably a compliment lost in translation, the French President Emmanuel Macron has thanked Malcolm Turnbull for his delicious wife. The faux pas was artfully ignored by the Prime Minister, who didn't even bat an eyelid. And on that note, back to you guys.
Hey Caitlin, do you know what else I find delicious? Macarons.
Well, speaking of junk food, Jackson has research on the impact that advertising junk food has on children.
Do you remember any of these food advertisements from your childhood?
From one part of life to the next.
Were you racing to the fridge or pantry after watching the ads to satisfy your sudden cravings? A world-first study at the University of Wollongong's Early Start has investigated children's eating habits after watching unhealthy food advertisements.
A key issue that has sort of impeded further regulation has been the lack of evidence showing a direct link between children's exposure to food advertising and unhealthy weight gain. And this is where our research came in.
The research involved 160 children between the age of 7 and 12 whose dietary actions were analysed on days when they were exposed to food advertisements and days when they weren't. It was concluded that children eat more after watching unhealthy food advertisements and don't compensate that consumption by eating less at later meals. This led to an increased amount of calories consumed on food advertising days.
And concerningly, this was sort of an amount that over time could actually lead to the development of unhealthy weight gain in children.
The results of the study comes as a confirmation for parents who already had concerns.
My philosophy is my kids don't watch commercial television at all because I know that the harmful effects of advertising, not just necessarily with food advertising, but more to do with toys and stuff that they don't really need. So I don't want that sort of influence around them.
Following a similar study conducted by the Cancer Council in 2014, the Australian government was urged by the council to introduce tougher regulations on food marketing to children. Regulations which remain unenforced today. Jackson McGrath, UOW TV, Multimedia.
So maybe turning off our televisions will have some serious health benefits.
Yeah, there was some concerning research there. Although, for a bit of balance, here's a story about video games.
After months of anticipation, the game Fortnite Battle Royale has released its newest update. From primary school kids, college dorm rooms, and Twitch live streams, it has become an obsession for millions of fans.
So Fortnite is another take on the Battle Royale genre that's become increasingly popular with games like PUBG and H1Z1 taking it on. Fortnite has been sort of the most successful as it was on console and very attractive in its cartoonish graphics towards younger children.
After a whirlwind of teasers, leaks and fan theories, it arrived early Wednesday morning. Season 3 saw players looking up at the sky as a blue comet began to make its way to Earth. Now, players have found that the comet has smashed into Dusty Depot, leaving a large crater behind. The much anticipated update has many gamers excited. It has also made the game even more popular than it already was on social platform Twitch.
Twitch is what they say a live streaming platform that was designed for gamers. So you have your YouTube where people upload their like gameplay footage and things like that, but Twitch is the live version of it happening. So most sort of big streamers will have, you know, the game they're playing, the camera of themselves, and then a way to interact with live chat. So it's a more interactive way, and so you get live reactions, live things, that sort of uncut feel.
With Fortnite's new and improved update, many are saying it's the only game they play constantly now.
As Fortnite's gotten popular recently, we've been playing that a lot more often.
Lucy Finter, UOW TV Multimedia.
Have you played that game before?
Yeah, a couple of times actually.
And how'd you find it?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I think I might have enjoyed it more if I died less.
Well, something you will enjoy is our next segment, Let's Chat. We have a very special guest in the studio.
This week, we're joined by Oliver Chaseling, and he's been in the remote Northern Territory working on a project in partnership with the university. So, could you tell us a little bit about it?
Okay, so the Ngukurr News is a partnership between the University of Wollongong and students and professors at the University of Wollongong and the Ngukurr community. So the editor for the Ngukurr News is a local woman called Daphne Daniels, and she's worked on the previous iteration of the Ngukurr News about 10 years ago. And so now she's the editor. And so basically we liaise with her from Wollongong, and then once a year we travel up there and spend some time in the community and sort of do some development work around that and yeah, just learn stuff.
So you were there recently. Can you tell us about that experience?
I was there last year for 3 weeks, and that was, I was doing some research for a thesis then, and that was the second time I'd been there. So the first time is sort of more of an introduction. I sort of was a little bit shy perhaps, like around just talking to people, I guess. But this time, spending a little bit more time there, people feel a little bit more comfortable, you feel a little bit more comfortable there, and so you get to know people a little better and sort of start to develop those relationships that hopefully will lead to sort of contributing to the newspaper.
And what's your contribution?
Well, basically, I write. I do some like national stories. I do a little bit of everything, but mostly I write national stories. We do some interviews over the phone. I do some design work, putting the newspaper together, and a little bit of administration stuff as well. Just a bit of everything.
Have there been any particular stories that have stood out that the paper's covered?
There was one last year that we did about outstation funding. So in remote communities, you'll have the community and then you'll have outstations or homelands. And so in Ngukurr's case, it's sort of like everybody's country, like for the different groups. And then each of those groups will have their own outstation or homeland around. And so the story that we were looking at was funding for those outstations, which is just funding like basic services like electricity, sewerage, like fixing generators, satellite dishes, that kind of thing, which hasn't, in one particular case, hasn't been sort of done for 6 years. So we were looking at the funding of where that, how that money gets spent, and what we basically found is that each layer of government that this money sort of goes through, it's sort of, there's a little bit skimmed off every time. So the starting amount, ostensibly for maintaining basic services, has to go through a few layers of government before it actually gets spent, and by that time there's just a lot less.
So you cover a range of topics in this?
Yeah, we do national. So the last issue we did was national stories, world news, but yeah, we try to keep a focus on the local stories as well, which sort of come through Daphne.
So I guess these sort of issues are, like when you cover issues such as that, it sort of highlights how important it is for the local community to have the paper still there.
Yeah, I mean the important thing is that the community has control over what happens in that community. So the newspaper isn't necessarily the be all and end all, like, or the one answer, but what we're trying to do is basically place some control back into the hands of community in terms of how they're represented, how they represent themselves, and what kind of things they would like to see happen in the community, and what kind of issues they have with the outside power structures that sort of control a lot of what goes on.
So it's very much controlled by the community.
The newspaper is, yes. Yeah, Daphne's the boss, and so she tells me what to do, and so we talk to her regularly, like once a week, and she says, all right, we want to do this story and this story, and then she sends through the local stories, and then we put them together into the newspaper, and then I send back some national stories, and she says yay or nay, basically.
So have you had any struggles with keeping this newspaper alive?
Yeah. Like funding is a bit of an issue. We sort of mostly rely on grant funding, that kind of thing. Printing has been in terms of like equipment and stuff. You know, things break down, printers break, or you run out of ink or whatever, and so it's a bit of a trek to, you know, the next town is about sort of 4 hours drive away. So. It's a little bit difficult in terms of like equipment and that kind of stuff, really.
In what way is the university involved in the paper? Like, could you explain that through a bit more?
Not a great deal. The university likes to sort of have us sort of up front, and you know, they like to write nice articles about us, and they sort of give us some support. But this year we're getting some students out there, so you know, they can contribute to the newspaper like through the, you know, and these are like teachers and social geographers, different kinds of fields, mostly like public health and that kind of thing. And so they're going to, as part of one of their subjects, they come to Ngukurr and then contribute to the newspaper, and then also spend some time there and just learn some stuff.
So, as a journalist, how has, you know, this newspaper been significant for you?
It's been significant for me, just in terms of learning experience, in terms of being in a newspaper environment that isn't so corporate. Perhaps there's a certain amount of freedom, but also a certain amount of responsibility. And so, instead of being in an office all day and sort of being on the phone, which is true for most of the year, but when we're in the community, we're doing just lots of things. We're whatever sort of needs doing, or you're just talking to people, really. Like it's a very we take a very holistic sort of attitude to it. We're not just like, we're the newspaper and we got to do this. We sort of try to develop personal relationships with people first, and then sort of try to sort of see how we can collaborate.
So would you encourage other journalist students to get involved?
Yeah, like I would. Like, you might not get paid much, but yes, you will. It's it's a very interesting project, and a very like good learning experience. Has been a very good learning experience for me. Just sort of getting out into the bush a little bit and seeing a little bit of Australia that you don't usually see, and talking to people that you don't usually sort of get to talk to very much, like, and yeah, hear from, I guess. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, and now our reporter Tori has gone out to have a look at what people's favourite coffee is. So here's Culture Vulture.
This week for Culture Vulture, I hit the uni campus to find out what coffees everybody here is drinking.
I usually drink the cappuccino with the skim milk.
Cappuccino.
An almond latte.
Mocha. Right now I'm drinking a flat white.
And I like double shot. Yeah, very strong, coffee addiction, yeah.
And iced coffee.
Yes, usually. Sometimes they try the flat white, but it depends. But for here, I love the panisi cappuccino.
Yeah, always I like it so much.
It's a stimulant. It affects your glucose uptake and it makes your body produce more adrenaline.
I don't put the sugar on. Yeah, just a skim flat white.
No, I always switch it up because I can never decide which one I like better.
Well, from a story about coffee to a story on smashed avo, it looks like our presenters will never buy a home.
Hi, I'm Liv. This is 60 Second Snacks and we're making avocado on toast with poached eggs. lemon juice, bread, pepper, chili flakes, 2 eggs, avocado, table salt. Mash the avo. She smells peppery. Oh, too much. Smush it all back together. As you see, the pot has come to a rolling boil, so we must add that much white vinegar. Stir your water like this. Crack. Oh God. Let's hope for the best. See, this is undercooked toast. You want it a nice brown crisp. Okay, now the eggs. 2 perfectly poached eggs, we hope. Having some technical difficulties.
Eggs good, toast is fantastic. I'm not sure what all the fuss about their avo is.
That was 60 Second Snacks. See you next week.
It's great to have Liv on board with 60-second snacks, and we can look forward to seeing more snacks in the future.
And hopefully there's something to look forward to for us Capricorns out there.
Hey guys, welcome back to Horoscope. This week we're focusing on all those Capricorns out there. As we move into the cooler months, your energy as a sun sign is depleted. This time you should pull out the best outfits possible to keep your life as lit as possible. Usually, Capricorns are unfortunately terribly boring lovers. So it's time to ramp up the dating websites with some overly photoshopped photos, with some tan that wouldn't be possible since it's almost winter. A little white lie never hurt anyone. This week, your planets seem to be aligned in your favour. Certainly not in the lover department, but in your wealth. If you can't find a lover, then why not become a sugar daddy or a sugar mummy? This week, you will come into a fair bit of money, so spend it on your newly found sugar baby. As Mercury falls out of your zone this week, you'll become awfully lazy, but never fear, this is a trait that you have always had as a Capricorn. Try and keep up with your non-existent love life, the parks on campus you'll never find, and any attempt at finding a sugar baby. Have a good week, Capricorns, and make sure you treat yourself with your newfound money and those highly edited dating profiles.
So how did that forecast look for you as a Capricorn?
Well, look, I'll certainly never complain about having lots of money. And with that money, I could go to all the concerts that the guys of Muse are talking about this week.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Muse. This week sees a bumper mix of all sorts of music at some of the different spots around town, as well as a bunch of the usual favourites. To kick things off, we've got another Strawberry Boogie tonight to get your artistic muscles flexing and your feet tapping. Showcasing live art and live music at the Unibar, this month's bill is topped by Tassie rocker Maddie Jane, performing her solo show. Further down is supports from Wallace, Moaning Lisa, Murray Darling and Spit Chewy. If you haven't dragged yourself out to one of these yet, then I recommend you do so for an unmissable night. Heyday will be featuring the official afters with another edition of Jacuzzi Stew with Mates DJ and Dougie to lead the party late into the night. Tonight also sees soulful indie pianist Ngukurr performing at the Chamber in Wollongong. Touring on the back of the new single Alcohol, self-described as a classical pianist gone rogue, this will be an intimate affair, so go check it out. You are spoilt for choice tonight as Rad will also have Enter the Jaguars single launch, Won't You Be My Lover. This will be funky and with supports from Jake Walker and Chelsea Dagger, it's sure to be a huge night. The Jam is back on at Friday nights at Unibar, described as Unilife's newest, biggest and best band competition. If you're keen to see some great and up-and-comers or even try your hand in the comp, then check this out. DJs, band and solo performances are all welcome. Friday nights will also have a show on offer at Rad with heavy punk rockers Endless Heights visiting from Sydney for their Vicious Pleasures tour. The boys will be supported by Friends Harbours, Paradise Club and Jack R. Riley. Staying at Rad on Saturday, the chilled out Cava Kings will be visiting for their single launch, Friends. With reggae and dub inspiration, you'll be wooed away to Wonderland by the dynamic duo. Supports are Gosh and Good Lecker. While Sunday sessions are done for the year, a newly formatted Strawberry Boogie will be making its debut at Frank's Wild Years in Thirroul. The Slim format will be 3 bands that we love and 1 local creative exhibiting and conducting live art with suggested donations as an entry that will be split equally between 3 bands. Sunday's show boasts a lineup including some surf, soul and psychedelia from Sunsap and help from Murray Darling and Spit Chewy. Get down for a dance and check out this new show. Back to Rad on Wednesday for a cool little midweek shining Dyer. Maker, a 5-piece psychedelic dub reggae infused outfit from Maitland, will be rocking the Rad Bar with capable support from OK Hotel, Tex and Moondogs. That's all for this week. Be sure to get out to the gig or two to keep the warm coming into the cooler months. Stay tuned and we'll see you next week. Thanks guys.
Thanks, Brad. And I believe you went down to the Harry Potter Horcrux hunt. How'd you find that?
Yeah, it was good. Yesterday I was running around in the heat trying to find all 7. And to finish the show, we'll find out how I did.
See you next week.
Bye.
We're holding our Horcrux hunt. Now, today is the 20th anniversary of the end of the Battle of Hogwarts, and to celebrate this, our members are also going on the same Horcrux hunt that Harry Potter himself went on. Horcruxes are pieces of your soul that you have put into an object or a being that just allows you to live longer and gives you that little bit of fail-safe if you're, say, the Dark Lord.
Where students in 3s find struggle to park, this will be the starting point on which your adventure you will embark.
Well, the first clue says where students in 3s find struggles to park. So I'm assuming that's where carpool students 3 go to the park. So let's head there now and hopefully find the first Horcrux. You've just found the first clue. How are you feeling?
Oh my god, I didn't realise it was that kind of in small of a spot to like do that, because I thought it'd be an actual object with an actual like piece of paper. I didn't think it would be laminated like that, so it kind of threw me off a little bit.
So I've just found the first clue. I had no idea what lattice or littice was, but when I googled it, it was a crosses of wood, and that definitely helped me find the clue a bit. So now we're off to the next one. I'm thinking somewhere near Espresso Warriors. Well, the second clue was something to do with Moaning Myrtle, so we ended up in a bathroom. So I guess that makes sense, and we found the clue, so number 3, here we go. Half an hour looking for that last clue. We were circling the area and we found St. George's Bank, like the ATM, but no, it was a different St. George thing. So
yeah, it was the hub. And they found it on the poster walls, and they put all the posters and everything up.
Now we're off to the next one. We're thinking maybe Building 19, but we'll find out. Well, I managed to find all 7 Horcruxes, thankfully. A big part in help to Alex. It was such a fun event, and all done for me today. This has been Stuart for UOW TV Multimedia.